Hello, everybody. This is Coach Andy Knapp, and I'm excited to have a successful Indiana business owner with us today. Chris Rasmussen is the owner and president of Newco Metals, Indiana's premier metal recycling company. Newco Metals has seen steady growth since its founding in 1986, and we're excited to hear a little bit about Chris's journey today. Chris, let's start with introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about your personal story, where you're from and your family and hobbies and all that good stuff.
Okay, yeah, Chris Rasmussen. I was born here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Um, we'll put it back in the 70s, okay, early. Born and raised here. Lived here till, let's see, just out of high school, and moved down to Austin, Texas, following a dream of, making it big in music. Stayed down there till about 2002, a good 10, 12 years, and came back and brought my wife now currently, brought her back from Texas. She was born and raised in Texas, and brought her back. We had a child. I got a 16-year-old daughter, and started working here at Newco Metals, and the rest is history.
Tell us a little bit about how the business came about and at what point that you had the confidence to kind of take the reins and run the business.
I'll say so. My stepfather, Kip Barber, started this in 1986, as you mentioned earlier, and he, like I said, I moved back from Texas. I was managing restaurants, bars, restaurants, and my band as well. Still doing music, and came to a point where he gave me an opportunity to come to the business and see if I liked it. So I tried it out, and like I said, 2006, and instantly fell in love with it. Worked out and back, and just learning all the types of metals, and processing, production. Again, management skills I've managed for several years of different types of businesses, but again, just fell in love with it. And so really, I think I mentioned this before when you and I were talking, but the CEO at the time fell on some health issues about 5 years in. And basically, my father came to me and said, "Hey, are you ready?" Because Dan's retiring. I said, "Yeah, let's go." So I think it's, I've always had some decent confidence myself. And I said, it's here we go, right? Sink or swim. So that's kind of how that happened.
Sink or swim. Sometimes those are the most key moments in life.
I'll tell you, it was pretty wild.
Tell me a little bit more about Newco Metals and what you guys do, what the different aspects of your business are.
Okay, so we buy all types of scrap metal, right? Aluminum, copper, steel, stainless steel. We buy it from just off the street, farmers around here, HVAC guys, people, demoing houses, buildings, whatnot. And we also have, we service clients around basically the Midwest at this point. Again, manufacturers, people producing, and, production line, just producing scrap, right? We have boxes all over. We service them, pick them up on a daily or weekly basis. And that's really it. And then we process, bale up, or load up loose and ship them to the mill, which the mill is the final resting place for the scrap, where it's melted and turned back into its original. So a beer can, we crush it, send it, they melt it, roll it into sheet, cut it out, and it becomes a beer can again, right? So
that's great.
We're kind of right to the last rung of that recycling circle, if you will.
I love it. Hey, for everyone listening, check out Newco Metals in the link in the description below. Comment on LinkedIn, and whenever you see that you watch the video. What do you think your biggest learning your biggest lesson, I suppose, as a business owner is?
I think really for me, it was learning and understanding all types of personalities, right? And individuals, from really in this stage, all walks of life to all, just learning to deal with all, whether it's customer, vendor, staff, all the above.
Everybody's a little different, and everybody hears things a little different and takes things a little different, and you gotta learn that kind of quick under fire, I'm sure.
Yes, that's got to be probably one of the biggest. Yeah, yeah.
What you guys have had steady growth since '86. What do you attribute that growth to?
Well, I would start off saying that my staff, the excellent staff here we have, and the fact of always looking for an opportunity, right? Always, what's all the cliches? Your head to the ground, so your nose, your ear to the ground, all that kind of stuff, and also, listening to my staff, listening to our customers, our vendors, and also trying to think outside the box. What are we not doing right now that we could be doing, or what could we do better, right?
Sure.
I would say those are some of the things
And about your staff, how many staff members do you guys have?
well, so we have 2 yards. We have one in Pendleton, we have one in Anderson. Let's see. So office staff here, we have Sarah, Sam, Tama, Blake, Grace, myself, my brother Mike, Ryan, Todd, Chris. So, oh geez, that, and we've probably got another 40 between both warehouses.
Wow, that's that's a big business.
It is.
What are some common misconceptions about running a business that people have?
Um, that it's easy, no stress, got it made, everything's a perfect life, right? I think that's
Right,
some
they
of the
see
big
that
ones.
they only see that 10% of that iceberg, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much that. And sometimes I think about this, as we talked about last time, and also sometimes it's that they think we don't care sometimes, because when you're running a gun, and like, Mike and I are not only in the business, but we're in it, right? We're working in it daily, hourly.
Right.
So, when you get hit with 10 different things at once, and you might not pay enough attention to one thing, all of a sudden, well, he didn't care. He's that's hard too sometimes, because we
Yeah,
care 100%, and it's just, sometimes you just can't do it all, right? So
absolutely. And I know that gets more and more difficult to have that personal tie to people within your organization as your organization grows.
exactly, and it is, because, and like I said, I'm not just saying this to say this, we truly care about every single person that works for us. And it's hard sometimes when, yeah, as you're growing, I might not have seen Jim in the yard in 2 or 3 weeks, when 3 years ago I used to talk to him for 10, 15 minutes, right?
Yeah,
And it's
right.
tough. But I do purposely set aside some time to my drivers. I'll call them, and just, it's just that kind of thing, to keep up, you know, as much as I can.
Absolutely, make your rounds and kind of keep up on the old scuttlebutt around the yard and making sure,
Exactly.
and that sort of thing. It's that's a tough job when you got as many employees as you do. Um, so I guess as you think about the next like 1 to 3 years, what is your number one area for development, or what is your challenge to achieving even more growth?
Well, I would say the labor pool is number one, right? And I think I'm probably everyone's saying that, I would imagine, who you're talking to.
There's a lot of people that do say that.
Yeah, that's has to be the number one. And then, trying to work more on the business instead of in the business, right? That's
Yeah,
that's another cliche term, but it truly is. When you're sitting where I'm sitting, it's, you try to pull yourself out to, okay, what is the next 3 to 5 years? And then all of a sudden, again, you get 10 phone calls, and then the machine goes down, that kind of stuff, to where
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
getting the right people in place. We're trying to bring guys up. But for instance, we're trying to bring our general manager of the warehouse up into sales. We've been trying for a few years now. We can't find a replacement for him, right?
Yeah,
So it stifles that for a little bit. So things like that, labor, I would say. But yeah, again, trying to work more on the business than in it.
that's exactly the types of things that we do, and we focus on those types of things with our clients. That, as well as issues of not only team but marketing, money, as well as time. Time seems to be a big one too. Not only the time in the organization, but the time of the owners. Sometimes I talk with owners, and they say, "Yeah, business is going great," but then it sneaks out that, "Oh, I haven't been on vacation in 11 years though." So working 90-hour weeks, and so
Right.
sometimes, well, let's talk a little bit more about that. So at any rate, last question: what advice do you have for new business owners?
Um, I would say if you don't plan on giving 100%, then I wouldn't even do it. Again, I don't mean to sound cliche or whatever, but it's truly, you're either in or you're out, right? Because you
And
have to
you're
give it all. I mean, you have to give it all, or more likely it's going to fail, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
100%. I completely agree with that. And you see times when people start kind of mailing it in, even at the highest levels, and it affects the entire business in a lot of
it,
different
it, it
ways.
truly does. And I guess one more thing to add is, like, that's another thing. If, you're going to have highs and lows like anything else, right? You
Sure.
just really got to learn to really celebrate those highs. And then when you're getting your butt kicked, you got to just stick it harder, right? You got to keep
Yeah.
grinding, because it'll get better.
Uh, absolutely. That is a great attitude. Well, Chris, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you for being on the show. Please tune in
You
to
as well,
Indiana
Andy.
Business Spotlight podcast to hear stories of business owners like Chris and how they have navigated through the obstacles of building their business. Chris, thanks again so much.
Thanks, you, man. Thank you very much.